This is ClueCon Weekly, the official Free Switch web show produced and broadcasted directly from Free Switch. ClueCon Weekly features live updates from the Free Switch developers and presentations from various pioneers of communications technology. ClueCon Weekly is brought to you by Free Switch Solutions, the official consulting firm of the Free Switch open source project. Get help from the experts. Visit freeswitch.com. ClueCon, the premier technology conference for telecom, WebRTC, IoT, and all things maker. ClueCon is held every year in Chicago, Illinois, and offers an all-day hackathon and 4 days of technology-rich presentations from developers around the world. Learn more at ClueCon.com or call 877-748-CLUE.
All right, guys, welcome to ClueCon Weekly. Today is November the 16th, and Mr. Brian West will be joining us shortly to talk about his, shall we say, fun with phone scammers. So you guys stand by and wait for that. It's really interesting and really funny, some of the games he played with those guys last week. So hang out for that. Miss Kathleen, how are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing pretty well. This week, in the code, additional debug level logging was added, and then mod HTTP API has a new pin and conference flags, and then congestion control and codec control were added to AMR, as well as a bunch of other great build improvements, so head over there, check that out. And then the bug hunt, just as a reminder, has been moved to Tuesdays, so join us Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Central Time. Call in here, 888 at http://conference.freeswitch.org/BC. You can ask questions, you can hang out, bring up any bugs, pull requests. That's the time to do it. And then if you know anyone who'd like to be a guest on ClueCon Weekly, or if there's something you'd like to see or a project you would like an update on, reach out to us at marketing@cluecon.com and we can see about making that happen. And stay connected. Join our HipChat channels, hipchat.freeswitch.org, IRC #freeswitch. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and stay tuned for all the latest and greatest updates. And I think that's it for me, Ken.
All right, cool. Thank you very much, Kathleen. So many of you guys already know Brian West. He's been around the community forever and a day. In fact, I met Brian probably a few years before FreeSwitch even existed. And so he's been working in open source telephony. He worked at Asterlink, which is one of the first ITSPs out there for the open source community. He did a lot of fun stuff throughout the years, broke a lot of stuff, fixed a lot of stuff. And then with Tony decided to invent FreeSwitch, Brian was right there with him. Those guys worked together previously, and him and Mike and Tony have been here from the very beginning with FreeSwitch. And then in the past month or two, he's been getting hammered with the telemarketer trying to sell him various things. So he decided to have a little fun with that. So Brian, you want to give us a little intro on what you've got going here and tell us what kind of fun with telemarketers you've been having?
Well, specifically what has transpired, and it's been longer than the last couple of months, but I imagine a lot of you in the audience have received phone calls from Vincent, from Card Member Services, Rachel, Veronica. There's various angles that this happens. If you search YouTube, there's videos on it. There's even a video at the bottom of this one that we found on YouTube where you can clearly hear the distinctive beat of Mod Conference in FreeSwitch. So these scammers are actually using FreeSwitch. So their attack angle is they'll call you up and act like they're from Card Member Services and ask you to verify your credit card number, expiration date, last 4 of your social, and your mother's maiden name. So previously, I used to just go to a website, which is in the links below, and generate valid credit card numbers that weren't real, but they were valid. They would pass the test, even with the CVV2 numbers. So I started just giving them fake numbers, and that was pretty time-consuming for me, because you'd have to leave them on the phone or lay the phone down. And I think my record on that one was keeping the guy busy for 45 minutes. And for the most part, the phone laid on the desk, but still I had to pay attention to be able to keep him going. That call didn't end very well. He realized I was messing with him. I got called a few choice words that I dare not repeat on this call. It was a hilarious interaction. So these kind of calls continue. I mean, I was getting 3 or 4 of them a day. It wasn't common for me. Even last week, last Wednesday was the second day that I had written this particular IVR to mess with these scammers, and they busted me halfway through giving them a hard time, and I've not received a single call since that second attempt that they tried to get me. And so this has been a little bit more effective than I anticipated. I really wanted to capture, some recordings of me messing with them, but unfortunately, after the first time I did it, I actually made it to the real company that's involved in this, and they're based out of Florida. I did the proper things to register a complaint with the Do Not Call list, the FTC, and I still have to reach out to the Florida Attorney General and lodge a complaint as well, because what they're trying to do is get you to give up information so they can help you lower your interest rate, and in the process charge you a bunch of money for this process, which most of you don't realize. You can call the credit card company and ask for a lower rate. I do it at least once a year, and I'll get something out of it. So, don't fall for these guys doing this, because they're just trying to charge you stuff. And in this particular company, once I found them, there's a lot of complaints online about it, how people were scammed. In fact, when I first did this to these scammers, after getting all the way to the point where their financial advisor does a 3-way call with Bank of America, and Bank of America answers the phone, and that's, pretty much the jig was up at that point. I had made it as far as I was going to make it, because I had started off, I told them my name was Bobby Tables, and which was hilarious. Made up all kinds of stuff, birth dates, last 4 socials, and things like that. So, and then they asked my mother's maiden name, and I told them Chairs, which didn't really set off any red flags at that point. So I make it through the entire process, and the lady introduces me to Bank of America as Bobby Tables, and blah, 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 and does the whole intro, and is trying to have me give permission to this person that's the financial advisor, permission to negotiate and or work on my behalf with my account. At which point, if you look at some of the stuff online, this is where they get you. At which point, they may actually go open up other credit card accounts in your name and do balance transfers without you knowing it, which is really sketchy. So once I made it this far in the game, the jig was up. So I was like, I'm just messing with you guys. There's no real Bobby Tables, and the woman didn't know what was going on. So I hung up the phone, and then about 5 minutes later, I get a phone call from somebody. I don't know where they were located, because I had mentioned that these people are scammers, and the guy was very aggressive about defending, the position that they're not scammers. They're there to help people that are in debt by apparently getting them in more debt, by charging them for services that really don't help. So I hung up that call after, informing the guy that I was on the Do Not Call list, and so I hung that call up, and then I get a phone call from the dialer company, the third-party company that was doing the dialer to get the leads for them. So, which is either they're not in the U.S., they're overseas, and so they were like, well, your credit card number is valid. You have X number of dollars of credit. Your balance is this. You made a payment. You have, all this stuff, which was all fake, which was made up, which I will do a demonstration of what the IVR sounds like in a moment. So it took me a little bit of time to convince the guy that wasn't real. He couldn't understand what was going on. He thought every aspect of what I did was legit, and that he had a real legit number, real, person on the phone. And that's just the funniest part of it. And then I get another phone call back from apparently the financial advisor guys, and again defending their position that they're not scamming people. But again, if you've ever received any of these phone calls, which I imagine a lot of you have, these you should never have your credit card company call you for one. So if you ever do, ask for a number to call them back, because you should never give out anything over the phone, credit card number, social, mother's maiden name, birth date, if they call you. Because usually they won't. They'll probably message you through your secure online system or send you a letter in the mail if it's something that urgent or that pressing. Because most credit card companies send you newer or better offers in the mail. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you this IVR that I created actually sounds like Card Member Services, which I did snip some recordings using FreeSwitch from real IVRs out there to piece this together. So it accepts any 16-digit number, any 4-digit social, any 3-digit CVV2, and then puts them on hold and then hangs up on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this. So hopefully you guys can hear this. I'm going to start the call. This is what the IVR sounds like.
This call may be recorded. Welcome to Card Services. Para servicio en español, marque 9.
There's a lot of delay built in on purpose.
To get started, say or enter your account number.
Get more delay.
And the last 4 digits of your...
They get to this point. And it sounds legit.
Thank you for being a Preferred Rewards Gold client. Thanks for your last payment of $162.28. It was received and credited yesterday. Here's some account information. As of today, your current balance is $3,500. Total charges pending but not included in your balance are in the amount of $54.77. Currently, your available credit is $29,782.95. Of this total, the amount available for bank cash advances is $15,200. As of your last statement, you have $0.00 available in cash rewards. Find out what rate and options are available for you to see if you can save on interest with a balance transfer or pay for any large expense. Say, My Offers now or at the main menu. If you're calling about your balance, press 1. Payments, press 2. Transactions, press 3. Statements, press 4. Replacement cards, press 5. Travel notification, press 6.
So now you've made it this far.
To save time when speaking with an associate, I'll need a little more information. What's the 3-digit security code on the back of your car?
And the actual agent is set here on hold. And then it puts on hold.
Please remain on the line.
And then it starts the music, and it'll play the one song, the one hold music, which will keep them busy for at least another 5 minutes, which 2 times they called in and were actually sitting there, which was hilarious. They called it like 3 times and verified everything, but all the information on that is fake. None of it's real. So, but now they think they have a card with $29,000 of credit line, so they think, oh, we've got a good one here, which really reeled them in. So they really worked with me. So next time if I get one, I'll have to use a different name. I don't think I can use Bobby Tables. But as I said earlier, this has worked better than I anticipated because all the phone calls have stopped. I've not received a single one since the second attempt to send the scammers through this. So again, that was a lot more effective than I had anticipated. So hopefully other people can use this. We are actually publishing the code, and I do have some information here. I'll show you what I've got. So right here, you can see, hopefully this will show up. This is, I created this in Lua. This is using FreeSwitch's mod Lua. and it emulates card member services, and it's completely legit. I have something in here for operator extensions, so if you actually want them to ring a phone and you mess with them even further, which I never got this far. I never was able to do that because they never got that far on the second attempt. So, I got some convenience functions, and I did break these out into different functions for getting the card number and the CVV2, because what I want to do is add additional feature sets to like get card number to randomly fail. Like, I don't understand the card number, so you can waste even more of their time if you feel, like doing that. And then, I've got the delay call function. This is just sleep for 1,000 milliseconds. It's used all over. This is introduced fake delay that keeps them busy even longer. For example, like this one will put them on the hold music and then hang up on them. And then, the tax ID, it gets the information. And again, similar. It's very similar to get card number. But I wanted to do some more things in that to extend it to waste even more of their time. Like I don't understand that. Please enter the full social security number type stuff. And the same thing with the CVV2. I wanted to do some different stuff in that. They've got, let's see, IVR, get IVR digits, which is when you heard it say, press 1 for this, 2 for this, blah, blah, blah. And here's the guts of it. So it's, here we go. And again, the delay is, 3 seconds delay is there on purpose. 2 seconds, 1 second. And this, that little clicking sound, like when the IVRs are processing, I've broken that out into its own so I can randomly insert that processing clicking sound all over the place, even make it take longer. So it goes through and plays all of these files and giving the balance information. And then there's this long filler, which was like for better interest rate and blah, blah, blah. Get the IVR, the CVV2. And then here's where I've commented this out. This is where I said transfer. But I have it set to hang up. So really, if you don't want to be on the phone with the scammer, just make it hang up on them. Or even play the hold music multiple times to even let them sit there longer. So we're releasing this on, it'll be in a link below. You guys can take it, have fun with it, expand it, give me feedback. Use it for yourself. Hook it up to a toll-free number. It'll help you get rid of these people from calling you. Just make up a fake name, fake card number, fake birth date, fake mother's maiden name, and just have fun with it, because this will probably stop them from calling you ever again once you get all the way to a financial advisor. And this is just one of many. There's a few other things that I get phone calls on that I would like to formulate a way to get the real company information so I can properly report it and give them a little bit of hell in the process. So does anybody have any questions about any of this?
I've got a quick question for you, Brian.
Okay.
I'm looking at this session transfer here, and I'm just wondering, have you thought about maybe transferring them to Lenny at that point?
Yeah, that's an option. I actually do have Lenny written in Lua as well. I've published that out there. I don't think it's checked into Tree, but Lenny would be a good one to send them to. But the dialogue and the context are completely different. So maybe I could come up with something different. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But again, I haven't had the opportunity to refine this because they've stopped calling me now, which tells me all of the companies were all the same people. And now they've all communicated that don't call this number because this guy will mess with you. So hopefully they'll call one of my other 100-something numbers pointed at my desk phone, at which point I'll be able to properly mess with them.
Now, to get into this IVR, you didn't really mention this yet, but how do they actually get your toll-free number to know to call you instead of actually calling Bank of America?
So when they call you, when they prompt you for your credit card number and your expiration date, they'll go on and say, what's the customer service number on the back of the card? So you give them the number you've set up for them to call that leads to this IVR. So this will trick them, and they think they have a card that's valid, that has a balance, that they're going to be able to scam money off of. And so the $29,000 balance was done on purpose. The credit line was done on purpose so that they knew there was a lot there. And that took me a while to piece together, but I got it. And and all of the other pieces together as well. But it really, they look past a lot of things once they hear that is what happened here, and it's hilarious.
All right. So if anybody has any questions for Brian, now would probably be a good time to butt in here. So while you guys are considering that, I've got one more. I've got another question for you, Brian. For those that are maybe minimal, they're got basic familiarity with FreeSwitch. How long did it take you to set this up, and how long do you think it would take? You're familiar with the community. A new guy that doesn't have a lot of experience with FreeSwitch to take what you've done here, set it up, get a toll-free number from, say, somebody like Flow Route, and then start screwing with telemarketers, start to finish.
You could do it in about 20 minutes or less. I think the longest part is probably getting a toll-free number provisioned and routed. That's probably the longest thing. That's the first thing you would do, and then set it all up in your dial plan and get it ready. And then by the time the number's provisioned, you would probably be set to go at that point.
Yeah, so this is something that pretty much anybody can do as long as you've got something to run FreeSwitch laying around on.
Right. You could run it on a Raspberry Pi. It's and like I said, this was my attempt at trying to stop it. It was getting kind of out of hand. 3 and 4 of these a day, and it's just most of the time I would hang up. But sometimes if I had the time, I would mess with them a little bit. And I would get called a few choice phrases and dirty words and things like that, which I knew they weren't legit at that point. If they're going to stoop to that level, there's no way they're a legit company.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you hit I think you hit the big point here. The best thing that you can do to prevent these calls is to waste their time. For them doing the call itself, it doesn't cost them a lot of money to call 1,000 people. What costs them money is if one person out of that 1,000 will actually answer the phone and screw with them for an hour.
yes, that will slow down their progress. So that'll lower the incentive for them to continue to do what they're doing. So that's kind of the motivation behind releasing everything I've done, so that others can take it, use it, and improve upon it. And hopefully we can stop this. It's very similar to It's Lenny. If you guys have not seen that, Jay Binks was the first one to come up with that. And you can find it on YouTube. It's Lenny. There's lots of videos that show the phone calls where this completely automated robot is wasting people's time, and they're falling for it. So if we continue to write things like this and release them to the public, eventually there'll be enough of this out there where people will it'll start happening less and less. And we had Chris from Comcast last week that was talking about Stir and Shaken, which is going to be another element that's going to help with this, because it's going to allow people to authenticate who's calling and if it's a valid caller ID. Because any legitimate company that's calling you should be presenting a valid caller ID on the PSTN, and none of that happened throughout the entire process of this. Even when the real company that I got down to called me back, it was not a valid caller ID. It was anonymous or all zeros. But I did have their valid toll-free number and some extensions for the financial advisor that I spoke with. So, that was it. It is what it is. I kind of wish I would have been able to do a couple more and record it and have some more funny stuff to show off. But I think I went a little too real up front, and it's a lot more effective than I thought.
Cool. So if somebody wanted to download this right now and start unpacking it and playing with it, where can they find this at?
Files.freeswitch.org/demos. Find it here. So yeah, it's there's the URL on the screen. It's files.freeswitch.org/demos/cardmember.tar.gz. So by all means, download it, look at it, improve it. Give me some feedback. If it's something that you feel we need to put in a Git repo somewhere, I'll gladly set that up as well. So any other questions, comments?
Yeah, just curious. Did you put in a mod 10 validator just to even waste more of your time? Like, given a blatantly invalid credit card number that doesn't pass mod 10, and have your IVR just waste your time?
Well, what I do is the link is at the bottom of the video. Is I actually go generate credit cards. There's an online generator that will generate 10, 20 at a time with valid CVV2s that all check out. So I made my IVR not care because there's no reason for it to care. Now I can make it say I've got 16 digits. Let me randomly make them re-enter it because I didn't understand something, which again is some other improvement that could be made to waste even more time. But I didn't want to integrate any of that validation into the DTMF because there really wasn't a need for it. Does anybody have any other questions? All right, Ken.
All right, cool, Brian. Yeah, man, this is cool stuff, and I can say I actually got to listen to Brian screwing with these guys the other day. When he told them Bobby Tables, I had to mute because I almost fell on the floor laughing. I just kept waiting on him to say, "Okay, you spell that drop tables."
I didn't go that far. When I said my mother's maiden name was Chairs, I thought they would have really clicked, and because tables and chairs, it didn't click. They didn't really catch that, which was funny because I actually come up with middle names. I actually had middle names for all of them, and some kind of like background. Yeah, they immigrated into the U.S. on this date or whatever, and just make up stuff, and it was fun.
Yeah. All right. Any other plans for the near future on demos like this, Brian, that people should be watching for?
Well, I would really like the community to stop and think about some of the things they would like to see, and maybe I could start doing some of them and putting them up as how-to videos. If people have questions on how to do certain things in FreeSwitch, because I'm currently in the middle of rewriting doing the configs for 1.8. Which, if anybody wants to help, just contact Brian at freeswitch.org. I would welcome the help. It's in a repo on Stash right now, and I've worked every day this week on it. Monday, I didn't do a whole lot. Tuesday, I committed a bunch of stuff that I worked on Monday and most of Tuesday. And I'll probably do a little bit more today. But if you guys want to see certain things demonstrated and how to do it in FreeSwitch, by all means, let me know. I will gladly do demonstrations and small projects to show people how to work FreeSwitch, because examples are how I learn, and not everybody can pick up things as quickly by reading documentation. I, for one, am one of those people. I learn by example. Documentation sometimes confuses me, especially as we all know the internet is full of invalid or incorrect or non-updated documentation, so you waste lots of Google foo trying to weed through what's right, what's wrong, and eventually you'll figure out what to do.
Well, cool. Thank you very much, Brian, and everything. We're going to wrap this up at this point because it's been a very effective demo, and we're going to let people go play with that. So you guys want to get these links, check out the video on Facebook, check out the show notes if you're watching on YouTube. They'll be all linked right below that. And we'll just keep in mind, we're going to be taking next Wednesday off, as we'll be right before the American Thanksgiving holiday, so everybody's going to be trying to hang out with their families and get a little bit of relaxing in before the silly season really kicks off. We'll be back on the following week on the 30th of November, so you guys come back and check out what we've got going on then. Don't forget about that, and Miss Kathleen will be posting that. So we will see you guys shortly after the holidays. Thanks, guys, and have a great week.
You've been watching ClueCon Weekly. Tune in every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, or visit us online. Please follow the FreeSwitch team on Twitter and Facebook by visiting our site at freeswitch.org.